Can you see the slide? How will the world become after COVID-19 pandemic? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let me start my talking. Okay. Hello, IISc again. And I went there so often. And this is February last year. And I could have the opportunity to talk to a very big audience in IISc. Then visited again last September, and could I have the opportunity to talk to some of the students here. Oh, let me introduce myself because some of you this is the first time to meet you. My name is Kazuaki Oda. I am a serial entrepreneur and a professor and a management consultant, investor, and athlete. And I love math and physics, and sometimes be a keynote speakers in events. So whenever I go to India, I have the opportunity to talk to the audience. Mostly, I'll be there in startup events. And also, I'm teaching something in Indian universities. I went to IISc, IIMB, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Hyderabad, those prestigious Indian universities. I am the CEO of a consulting company and professor of Nagoya University and the co-founder is Slogan Inc. and the owner of some IT companies. And also teaching in Asian countries, not only India, but also Singapore, Vietnam, Indonesia, or Malaysia, or China. And I'm traveling to many Asian countries recently. My first career was Accenture. Just after finishing the doctoral course of math, it was 1993, and I became a management consultant and went to United States. And working for Accenture in Chicago and New York and San Francisco, Los Angeles, big cities in United States. Then I was back to Japan and got independent as a management consultant, started creating lots of businesses in Japan. And some of them were bought or got published in Tokyo stock markets. And now I am a serial entrepreneur because I have made more than 10 companies and almost half of them were bought, were published. And sometimes teaching economics and strategy in universities right now. So many universities I lectured, Tokyo University, or this is Singapore, and Beijing, this is China. So today, some of you asked me some the question about China. So today I can talk about that also. And this is a Kharagpur. Maybe you know, this is Kolkata. I went to Kolkata last September. That is far to Bangalore and a different city from the Bangalore, Hyderabad. Also, this is IIS. And IIMB also in Bangalore. This is Hyderabad, and this is a startup event holding Tea Half at Hyderabad. Oh, like something like that. And last year, I could have the opportunity to talk to the big events. This is half academic. There was a vice president of India. I met him there. Okay, move on to today's main topic. Today, I'm going to talk about the impact of COVID-19 and check before COVID and what are happening in the world. And the final topic is how should we do after COVID-19? Okay, so go on to the first. The impact of COVID-19. Of course, this is a very dangerous virus. Its infection is so powerful. That's why we should stay home. But this is one of the viruses. And from now and for about 2 or 3 years, we have to survive with them, like a flu virus or Spanish cold or something like that. So we have to live with them. So now we are looking for the way to live together. And worldwide economies went down in a short period of time. Dow Jones Index, this is a stock market price. It went down so rapidly. Also, the price of oil markets, it's also dramatically went down like this due to the coronavirus widespread to all over the world. Because a lot of operations we could not have. Like we could not go out for shopping center to buy something, and we could not go out to have some delicious food in like in MG Road or somewhere. Also, very big names went bankrupt, especially travel, food, retail. These 3 industries were terribly bad and now struggling right now. And one of them is Thai Airways. Thai Airways is the biggest airway companies in that country. I often use Thai Airways. So then when I go to India next time, which airline could I use? I'm wondering right now. And the Heart and the Goldsim, the JCPenney. JCPenney is one of the biggest retail companies in United States, but went bankrupt because lots of consumers did not go to JCPenney to buy something. It's impossible. Just a moment. Also, some countries cannot avoid default. At least now, Argentina is struggling to handle the default. Default is a word, economic word. They cannot pay the interest of the treasury bond of that country. So not only Argentina, but also some countries. And some big countries are very, very in danger of default, like Italy or Spain. Of course, you know, Italy, Spain, those countries have a lot of positive cases, COVID-19. So it's really dangerous. Those are big, very big countries. Their ranking of GDP, gross domestic products, is around 10. So, and one of the biggest European countries. So it's really dangerous. And now this is the era of globalization. So once some of the country bankrupted, then the rest of the other countries will be also in danger of default. So that can be more and more dangerous than just bankrupting some small countries. Then, of course, very silent Bangalore. This is a picture taken 2 or 3 weeks ago in Bangalore. Usually, Bangalore, there's too many people there talking and driving cars and chatting or something. But of course, you know, locked down, then people could not go out. So very, very silent, like this way. Okay, this is a summary of the impact of COVID-19. Anyway, you can see this PowerPoint after that, and you can check detailed information. Basically, world economies go down to the same level or worse than Lehman crisis. Lehman crisis is occurred in 2008. I remember so well, 12 years ago. That impact was so huge. But this time, the situation is worse than Lehman crisis. Why I think that? Because this time, lots of operation cannot be done this time. People cannot go out, and factories are off, and lots of operation it's impossible to have the normally. So that's the reason. And the second point is that it accelerates the digital transformation more rapidly and more drastically. It's really good for IT companies. And in that sense, I'm a little bit lucky. Maybe a luckiest guy is a Zoom, the company of Zoom. Actually, I'm using Zoom almost every day because I'm lecturing online and to university students, the postgraduate students, or the people in the companies. And before that, I used Zoom, but not so often, like twice a week. But now I'm using Zoom like 3 or 4 times in a day. Zoom is one of them. Also, Amazon, he is also very lucky because people are buying lots of things on the Amazon website. So, digital transformation, the coronavirus accelerated. And at the third point, regional disparity in developing countries increases very rapidly. Regional disparity inside the company. For example, disparity in China. In China, there are so many rich Chinese there in Shanghai or Beijing, but at the same time, there are so many rural cities, and they are not so rich like Hong Kongese or Shanghainese. Then disparity is getting bigger and bigger. And fourth point, sovereign risks get more realistic. Sovereign risk means almost a default of the country, like Italy or Spain. And the next one is some part of old economies are replaced by new economies, such as Amazon or Zoom. And the next thing, that China is isolated politically and confront difficulty in many fields. Of course, COVID-19, its origin was in China, Wuhan, the city of Wuhan. And basically before COVID-19, China had a lot of internal problems. For example, Hong Kong is one of them, and also the same for Taiwan. So, but this time, China, the COVID-19 is really bad for their economy because already their economy is slowed down. The official GDP growth rate is 6% to 7%, but it's not something like that. Lots of economists are predicting exact number of GDP growth of China, and the consensus of the analysts are like 3 to 4%. It's not bad because China is so big, but not as big as the official number, 6 to 7. Then if the economy slows down, lots of Chinese will start claiming something to the government. So that can be a problem for China. So China has an enemy not outside their country, but inside their country. That can be a problem. I'll tell you later more about that. The final point is that this crisis of influence is a result of presidential elections in many countries. Roughly speaking, Trump is in danger of losing his position. This November 3rd, there will be the presidential election in the United States. And before COVID-19, lots of people thought, Trump will be the president again because there is no good candidate in Democratic Party, his opposing party. But this time, Trump made some mistakes. So lots of people are changing their thought or Trump can be president again or not. I don't know. But anyway, we have to carefully watch it. So this is the impact of COVID-19. But before that, we are, I think, we are sometimes too focusing on COVID-19 and ignoring the situation before COVID-19. Like, for example, China-US trade war, how it will be. Still, they are in the battle, even now. And the imbalance of political situation, we have to also watch it. So, before COVID-19, what are happening in the world? Then good news is the constant rise of population economies, especially India. India's economy was so good, but from now on, for 2 more years, we have to watch carefully because a lot of the economies in many countries will go down. It's worse than Lehman crisis. So please be patient for 2 more years. Some of you asked me about the question, how will be the economic condition in India? Frankly speaking, not only India, but also in many countries, the situation is not so good. So please be patient, especially India. Because why I say India is, India has one of the biggest populated countries, and it has a very big potentials, of course, you know, because its population is so large, and second to China, and will be bigger than China in next 5 to 10 years. But still very, very poor, and lots of investment from our side is needed right now, even now, and 10 or 20 years or more. So this from this crisis, lots of investors will withdraw money from India, not only from India, but from many developing countries like Indonesia, Malaysia. So because of rich investors, they will be no longer rich because they are losing money due to COVID pandemic. So that's why lots of money will go out. From India or developing countries. So that's why I said be patient for 2 years. But there will be the future. Please listen to me. In 2 years, what are happening is now we will be confronting very big economic crisis, especially in Europe. Not only Europe, United States, China, and the government will do something to stimulate the economy, and printing lots of money. Printing money, that's the only way to make it stable. Printing lots of money, central banks will do. Of course, Japanese central government will be printing lots of Japanese yen. The same way, Indian central banks will be printing lots of rupees and give this money to the citizens. It's not bad, but its economies will not recover so soon. Maybe one of the happiest countries in next 2 years is Japan. The reason is very simple. Our economy size is so huge, number 3, but it's not good news about that. Our economy, Japanese economy, is very, very internal. We are exporting lots of cars and electric devices, but also we have a huge market of services. So that's why Japan, it has the smallest impact of this coronavirus. But the US is not like that. Because the United States, they have to raise funds, meaning they have to have money from the investors outside their countries. So that's why US is also will be confronting a big problem in the near future. Okay, go back to the PowerPoint. The third point, increase the sovereign risk due to countries. Okay, part of democracy has come to the dead end. Part of democracy, that means that some European countries or some African countries, I don't know where it is, but so many. Because nowadays, the system of political system and economic system, some of them no longer work. Because disparity is getting bigger and bigger. For example, America has the biggest disparity inside their country, rich and poor. And some rich people have owned the most of the money in US. That can be a problem. Also, that can be seen in India also. In some, for example, if you go to Starbucks in Bangalore, there are some people maybe with MacBook Air typing something and talking about the strategy and IT businesses and something and fundraising something. They are using very good MacBook and using Samsung smartphone or iPhones, but the price of Starbucks that's so expensive. If you go out on the street, you can buy a very cheap curry and rice, and it's much cheaper than a cup of Starbucks. That is India. Not only India, but also Indonesia. So international disparity between rich and poor is so big. And that can be a social problem. Okay. So, the next point is a conflict in politics and economy of the two great powers, the US and China. That can be a problem. That can be a problem. And Japan and European countries are trying to find their position in such a subtle situation between China and Japan. It's really difficult. Even for Japan, we are thought to be a part of the United States, exactly like the states of USA. But our trade volume to China or from China is as big as the United States and sometimes bigger than the United States. This is the stats. I'm going to show you later. But it is not only Japan, but also many European countries are trading to China. So that's why politically, they are thinking United States is a partner. But on the other hand, economically, China is sometimes a better partner for than United States. That can be a problem. Okay. Globalization has led to unwanted results, pollution and employment and immigration and disparity or something like that. Then acceleration in economic power shift from old to new. And as I told you, digital transformation is accelerated by COVID-19. Global warming and natural energy, all age society, we had a lot of problem, even before COVID-19. Then I pick you some point. Point one, what is the effect of increasing globalization? Of course, I pass it because what is it? Maybe you know so much about that. Increase the disparity and emergence of lending company as GAFA. Urbanization and the immigration and the slowdown of Chinese economy or something like that. Pre-check it later. Okay, point two, chaos in political and social system. Chaos in the political system, regional disparity, China's challenge social capitalization. That can be a really, really big topic. How China it will be. Do they have the democratic systems or another alternative system? And the US-China search for a new power balance. And I think East Europe distress, EU or Russia, those countries are Ukraine and Belarus or some countries because they are located middle of Russia and Europe. So that's why they have to have very tough make decisions. And the Ukraine is a key country, Ukraine, because it produces a lot of agricultural products, but also this is the country Russia want to have, because with this country, Russia can access to the sea from Black Sea. That's the reason. So Ukraine, please watch out at Ukraine. Okay, and where did the old empire of Russia and Turkey go? Turkey is also the key country. Adrian, he is also a charismatic leader like a Putin of Russia. And lots of people think the Eldan, he want to be like an emperor, and the dreaming of ancient Turkey, Ottoman Turkey, maybe. And Africa is rapidly growing, but there are so many corruptions. And my idea about Africa's future is they need more time because its political systems are not working effectively. Corruption also, even though when they had money by selling lots of oil and gases, they could have, but they did not invest the infrastructure, and their infrastructures are still very poor right now. So it takes more time. So we can learn from the Africa's situations. If we have money, we should invest for the future. That can be very important for India. Infrastructure, like now, India has lots of people, and need to have the metros and create it as soon as possible, and create a very sophisticated transportation system, highways and airport, and long way trains should have them. It will accelerate the speed of economic growth in this country. And nationalism can be also the problem. And the Midwest and the outbreak, the proximity war in various places. Most dangerous place can be a Middle East or Korean Peninsula. Korean Peninsula, South Korea, and North Korea. And that can be a very big problem. Nobody knows the future, how it's gonna be. Okay, so check the leaders. Leader Trump, Xi Jinping, Putin, Erdogan, Moon, Abe, Merkel, and something like that. So we have to check the schedule of the presidential election. Taiwan, then very conservative lady won, and he wants to get independent from mainland China. And April, South Korea, Mr. Moon regained the position, and he is a little bit radical, and nobody knows how he will be acting, but he have to choose China or US in near future. Politically, they are now a member of the United States Western group, but economically, the connection to China is so huge and strong. That's kind of the problem. And November, of course, we're gonna have the US presidential election, and many people on the earth are watching it. And point 3, stable economic growth and supported by increasing population like India. Very happily, our population is increasing, but too fast, some says. And until the year 2050, the population will be so big. So that means the demand of power, demand of food and apparel, that must be bigger than now. So it's good news for economy. And then we have to check the population comparison of 2019 and 2050. Then India will be #1 until 2050. Then India will be #1 from around 2030. Then second, China and Nigeria, USA, Pakistan, Indonesia, Brazil, Ethiopia, Congo, and Bangladesh. And one thing I want to emphasize is in those countries are Asian countries. Of course, India, Indonesia, and China, and Bangladesh, and Pakistan. So the location of India is very good. Of course, Japan is also very good. Basically, 2/3 of populations is in Asian area. So that means near us, there are huge potential markets. So it's really good news. And usually we memorize this list because the population is linked to the size of the markets. So that's why I went to Indonesia or Vietnam or Philippines so often, of course India often, because they have the potential markets. Very simple reason. GDP growth, it's really positive, and no worry about the future. So, but be patient for recent 2 years. Be patient, only 2 years. After that, that will be okay, because India has a big potential. All like this. The summary is a wall. It's something like that. In any country, there are some positive factors and negative factors. For example, US positive factors can be it has a strong military, while the largest market it has, gathering talent, and the shale gas and oil they can produce, and settlement they has a settlement currency US dollar, high level research, and the English spoken is very convenient. And the negative factors of the United States is a big trade and finance deficits, and a huge amount of government debt, big social disparity, and the divided society and the racial problem nowadays. On the other hand, let's look at the India. It has a Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. Potential market size of 1.4 billion is so huge, and a strong IT development and abundant IT professionals, and a stable agriculture and English spoken ability. Especially English is very important nowadays because lots of Indians can speak English so well. So that's why for foreigners, it's easy to have some projects and we work together. Language is quite important nowadays and becoming more and more important. And the negative factors of India, the inefficiency in democracy. Sometimes this time, I think Modi is a good leader. But there are so many cities, local cities, and they have some big responsibilities. So sometimes some big cities are good and some are not, something like that. And wealth disparity inside the country is so huge. And the weak infrastructure and the education standards of the whole country. Whole means some Indians are very smart and genius. I know that. But still, there are some people who cannot read or write. That can be a big problem. Then the government and they have to support all of the people. So that's why the basic education system is needed, like elementary school or to junior high school. In some countries, especially ex-Soviet Union country, they have good system for education because a lot of people can go to school for free and they have the equal opportunity for their education. So this is one of the Achilles tendons of India. And air pollution and the environmental problem. Actually, in big cities like Delhi or Mumbai, its air pollutions are so bad. And of course, Kolkata is also bad. Not only India, but also Beijing's air and Shanghai's air. They are also very bad. Air pollution, we have to do something for the future, for our children, grandchildren. Oh, this is a very interesting stats. This is the direction of a trade. India, Japan, and Germany and Korea. Those countries are exports of goods to its partner. Then look at India. The number one exporting is United States and UAE, and the third China. And Japan exporting the most good to United States, and the next to China. And Germany, then United States to China, and Korea, and then China is by far the number one. It's something like that. Just a moment. I want to show you this. Oh, interesting. Between United States and China, they are trading to each other, especially China. China is exporting with biggest number to United States, by far number one. And the United States, they are also exporting lots of products to China. It's like that. Canada and Mexico are next to United States. It's not just they are ranked number one or number two. And outside American continent, China is number one. Is it interesting? It's something like that. Okay. The point 4, technology will enable us to change our world. Okay. Oh, let's skip. Okay. New technology will change our society. Third information revolution. I don't know, third or fourth. 5G, IoT, AI, blockchain. And genome editing is driving a new era of biotechnology. And alternative energies are far from catching up with increasing demands. So I worry about the new technology for generating energy is very, very important for us. Otherwise, the air pollution in Delhi is getting worse and worse. But it takes more time. So we should work hard. And the global warming problem is also a very big problem. And the political balance will get affected by new mining states of the natural resources. Some country may start producing oil and gas. Then the power balance of politics will be changed. Development of a new material such as carbon fiber or something will change the structure of industry. Not only industry, but the distribution system or supply chain or many, many things will be changed by development of new material such as carbon fiber or chips or something. Okay. I'll show you some pictures. There are so many IT companies, and nowadays lots of young people are interested in starting businesses. This is India. This is Hyderabad. This is China, Shenzhen. Shenzhen is like Hyderabad. I went there so often and regularly go there to watch carefully how it's going. This is not China. It's almost like Silicon Valley. I was living in Silicon Valley many years ago, but Shenzhen, its atmosphere is very similar to Silicon Valley. Lots of young people are challenging and talking about this new business scenes, and the competition is very, very hard and tough to survive. Also, there are some cities like that. This is Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia. It's very active. I went to the Gojek office. That office was not a building. The office is shopping center. Shopping center because its employers are so many, 4,000 and 5,000, and there is no building working together in one building in Jakarta. That's why they are using shopping center. Also, Singapore is a very big city, but Singapore is so advanced and clean, but its market potential is so small because its population is not so that big. but it can be the center of the business, because if you want to raise funds, then you should access to the investors in Singapore. And actually, I have a lot of my friends working for investing companies. Also, there is another Silicon Valley in Vietnam, Da Nang. Da Nang is a very local, and it has a lot of startups like Bangalore. And the atmosphere of the city is quite similar to Bangalore. And of course, Tokyo is one of the good cities. And now, the point is, now this is the time war for talents. So there are many cities, and talents gather to those cities, like San Francisco, New York, or Tokyo, Beijing, Singapore, Bangalore, Berlin, and London, and South Africa, or something like that. The tech city ranking is something like that. New York, San Francisco, London, Amsterdam, Boston, Singapore, and Tokyo is ranked 13, and Bangalore 27. And the war for talent has already begun, as you may know, so I skip. So finally, I'm talking about what should we do after COVID? Now, what will happen to the world, politically, economically? US-China relation will be similar to Cold War between United States and the Soviet Union. It was end until the 1991. And and I remember the Cold War, and that was so dangerous. And second thing, relatively, US will be down and China will be up, and it will cause instability. And the excessive liquidity of large companies will exceed the critical point. There are so many liabilities in many companies. For example, India's big company, lots of them have the large number of liabilities. They are half public and they are half private. Not only India, but also in China. Big companies like generating powers, power companies, and mineral companies, its liabilities are so large, and it's really dangerous. Large countries except UK, US, and Japan will be can be broken and divided into some parts. Why US, UK, and Japan are okay is their boundaries are very clear. UK and Japan's are islands. So that's why its boundary is very naturally accepted to some degree. US, it is so big. And southern part of the United States is Mexico, and the northern part is Canada. The relations between them are very stable. So that's why UK, US, Japan is comparatively safe in this point. And the next thing is that China will be slow down, and India will keep growing. However, it is unknown how long it will be last or how stable it will be. India's potential, no doubt, is good, but it's not something like China, because India is a collection of states. Some are very advanced, some are not. And the people are speaking different languages. In that sense, some cities like Hyderabad and Mumbai, Delhi, those cities will be better soon. I think so. But some are remained poor. So it's not like China. That's kind of so. I think this is unknown factors for India. The next point, the product will be made in a large quantity at low prices. It's thanks to technology and globalization. Developed countries will be confront a shortage of labor force. So this is good news for India. lots of projects will be outsourced, and lots of projects will be running in India. It's really good news. In short term, some projects will be canceled in short term, like IT development, but soon will be back. And once we cannot go to another country, we cannot visit another country, there must be online projects more and more. It must be really good news for India. And actually, I started working with Indians so often, and more often than before COVID-19, because it's very convenient, and a lot of Indian people are waiting for jobs, and their labor cost is much cheaper than Japan or United States. So that's why it must be a good news for India. Global companies are getting bigger in size, such as GAFA, Google, Apple, Facebook, but we will soon get regulated. They are too big and stronger than some governments. So that's why they will be regulated. Korean Peninsula and Taiwan will become the Asian Balkan Peninsula. Balkan Peninsula, that is where there are so many conflicts even now. EU will struggle to coordinate with members, and Russia will have the unique position providing their natural resources to both US and China. Russia's industrialization is not so good, but Russia can continue to producing natural resources such as gas and oil and minerals. So thanks to the growth of the world economy, Russia's economy will be with the same good as the world economy. Japan, our country, will be declining, unfortunately, but very slowly and naturally. This is from population declining. So if Japan do nothing to change the system, it's slowly declining. Of course, we have to change it. And I think personally, it's better to invite a lot of Indians to Japan, because India, it has too many people, and we need to work together, and it's not bad idea to work together. And actually, I want to invite a lot of Indians to Japan. Of course, there are some barriers. Language barrier is the biggest one. And the society and the science, technology will have humans released from physical and routine labor. Humans can live longer, and the country have to adjust to new society. English will be more spoken. Then US will remain #1 in the field of science. But India, China, and another country will tremendously catch up and surpass in some fields. In that sense, India and China are great. Simply because these countries are so populous, and that means the competition to survive for survival is very, very tough. That's why they can produce lots of talents. And actually, it's really sad news for India. India is exporting lots of talent to United States. United States, on the side of the United States, they are importing so much talent from India. And actually, when I was in United States, I saw lots of Indian medical doctors. Most of the medical doctors in United States are from India. So I wonder why, but now I understand, because India's science and engineering levels are so high. Now I'm understanding, but it's so sad, because India is exporting very important things. So give them back to India. It's better. Okay. Some function of government will be covered by NPO and NGO. That means our democratic system sometimes cannot work effectively. So that's why non-profit organization, non-governmental organization have to do something instead of governments. Last thing, the urbanization and the depopulation will be simultaneously progress. Urbanization. Lots of Indians come to Delhi or Mumbai and so populous. And in the field of the agricultural fields, there will be less people working there. And I think there are some big companies and they are using machines to enhance the performance in agricultural products, I guess. After COVID-19, in a short term, there are something occurred. Digitalized market shrinks the worldwide economy for 2 years. So be patient for 2 years. It takes some more time to have the vaccine and the collective immunity. So collective immunity, lots of you don't understand collective immunity. We have to live together with this COVID-19 as a human. So that's why it takes some time to have a collective immunity as a human. And the healthcare industry and the transportation kept restricted. Many central banks need to provide economic packages, but it will make over liquidity in the market. Over liquidity means they are printing too much money. And in short term, it is needed. But in long term, it's really bad. Sooner or later, it will create a bubble. And it takes 2 years. It takes a year. And after that, there's so much money. And again, flew into India. So that's why be patient for 2 years. There's too much money because now, from now on, lots of central bank will start printing lots of money and giving them to the people. But sooner or later, the money is too much. And the good news about this is that can be our investing money. And there are not so many investment opportunity in advanced country like Japan because their economies are matured. So instead, lots of money will come into India or some developing country, especially the country with big population like India. At that moment, lots of foreign investors do not want to China. It has big political risk. So the next target is, it must be India or Nigeria. Nigeria is an African country. It produces lots of oil and gas. It's so popular, still very poor. So wait for 2 years. Then investing money will be back. But next 2 years, lots of money will go out from India. So that's why be patient for 2 years. Okay, new social system should be created. New system after COVID. Integrated stable power generation, policy and regulation, proper allocation of wealth, global warming, pollution control, redefining responsibility and role of multinational companies and nations. A revision of educational disparities, and establishment of a global police system. America do not take care like before. They are watching inside their countries more and more. That's going to be a problem. So that's why new system is needed. Management of intellectual property rights, including such as creating virus of COVID-19. Adaptation of society and individual to an aging society. And new technology, okay, genome editing or something like that. Okay. So the finally, please study. You are genius working and studying in IISc. So please study in those areas. Healthcare products and services, clean and safe power generation, material, carbon fiber, and electric components, infrastructure, facilities, water, service, railways and roads, precision machines and robots, and automobile and aircraft, and online education. Maybe it's possible. Online education and trading services, power generation, clean energy, food and beverages, biotechnology, medical products. At least those researches are very important. And of course, I am one of the scientists, but also I am a business person. So if you consider starting your business with those technologies, then please feel from contacting me anytime. It's welcome. It's welcome. Maybe I guess I had a lot of discussion and meetings with engineer and scientists. Lots of them told me, "Oh, Mr. Kazu, you understand the language of science, but we scientists and engineers do not understand the business persons." So then my conclusion to solve it is to have a good partner in business side. And some scientists and professionals, they should devote themselves for researches. And another partner collaborate together, and some guy, they are in charge of learning businesses, like hiring marketing manager and raising fund or something. So what I can say is if you want to do something in business, then I may be able to help you to find those partners. And I can introduce investors not only in Japan, but also in Singapore or United States, those countries. Because soon after, they're gonna have plenty of money, because the central government will printing lots of money. So that's very good opportunity. So until that, we should study inside our university. Okay. Oh, that's my talking, and namaste, and thanks for listening. And oh, this is my Facebook and LinkedIn account. If you're interested in something, then please contact me.